Okay, something I thought about at work over the past few weeks here. So we're going to have another militia mobilization video, which I haven't done any for a while. We're going to call this D-Day Has Occurred. So what's D-Day? D-Day is our deployment day. Some event has happened and the militia is mobilizing. Now, in our general scenario that we're going to do right now, this event has occurred. There is crackdowns going on, but it is primarily in the bigger cities. That's where most of the problems are. People are rioting, looting, whatever type things there. There are some crackdowns going on, some roundups occurring out in the country, but they're not as heavy yet, but they are still occurring. Bigger name people, leadership that from the militia that is known are getting rounded up in that stuff, but the call goes out to mobilize. We've gotten our little wildfire or brush fire message, whatever it was I had used like a year or 2 years ago when I did the talking about mobilization using code words and stuff. And we're mobilizing. Now, I know some units have it in their head, they're going to mobilize and they're going to go straight into combat. I really don't recommend it unless you're in a unit that has been doing it for an extremely long time and you're extremely good at your training. Everyone knows exactly what they're doing. Most units, that's not going to happen. You're going to have that little training period to get everyone up to speed. That's the time where your military veterans are going to be the most valuable. They're the ones that are going to be your primary instructors on teaching everyone what to do, how to stay alive in combat. Teach you how to shave in the field, how to cook your food in the field, you know, how to wipe your rear end, how to shower in the field, how to act. Now, our little initial spot that we chose for this platoon-sized militia is our location that we chose for doing our initial trainings and that stuff is an island inside a good-sized river. We figured there, we're isolated, we're not going to be noticed as much as people are moving through. We've gone through. There's a smaller rise here which does not get flooded typically, but we keep watch. If we hear about flooding and that stuff, we may have to go out there and remove that cache before the area floods. But we have a position set up there, a bunker which can be used for defense but is primarily meant as an observation post. The bunker also serves as the cache as the materials are stored inside there, inside watertight barrels and containers. Now we will set up listening posts and observation posts on the sides to see if anyone tries approaching. We're probably going to put in one also farther upriver. Going by the general shape of the island here, the direction of flow is this way. Now, the unit comes in, they make their way out there. They will probably come out there by boat. When they come in by boat, it's primarily going to be from upstream, so they get pushed down towards it. The only ones that would be pushing their way upstream would be ones that have boats with motors on them. But you use motors, you make sound more noticeable. Your initial mobilization for getting out to this island should probably be at night so that it's not going to be noticed, and you really become a stickler on your light noise litter discipline, especially the light and noise discipline, because you want everyone to get onto this island without being noticed. The only ones that might go out there during the daytime is people that are camouflaged as fishermen who come out there, and those are your quartering party. They have their gear, have their equipment hidden on the boat. But they come out dressed like they're going out for fishing. They get out there, they check the area, do their little quartering party procedures, and then send up their little notification that everything's clear. It could be tying a piece of cloth to a tree branch, signaling that everything is okay. And then once they get the acknowledgement, they take down that piece of cloth. They then go in and start checking out the cache and that stuff. Maybe they're getting things set up down here for when everyone shows up. They might have to clear out a few fighting positions and that type of stuff while they're waiting. The boat they brought with them gets hauled up on land and camouflaged. You have your LPOPs, which will be set up as part of your quartering party to make sure you do not get disturbed. People come in, they go to their final rally points, and then they get brought in to their assembly area. When they're there, they're probably going to be there at least through the daytime before they launch for any type of mission. Now, the initial missions that go out, you could have teams that are already designated that will not go into the assembly area, but they are accounted for. They are conducting the missions outside. And then those missions could be extraction of members who are caught. You know, they're caught up by the rioting, caught up by the roadblocks, that type of stuff, the road closures. It could be that they're launching maybe initial sniping and that stuff at the enemy to keep them off guard and stuff. But for the most part, in the beginning here, you want the enemy to believe that this area is, you know, there's no one there. There's no activity. So that they're going to be at a lessened security stance until you're ready to launch. How long you occupy this location is going to be up to you. You could be there a few days, you could be there a month. But something like this, I'm guessing probably a week at most, maybe, before you move out. And when you move out, you're probably going to be mounting up on boats and going downriver. Might be the easiest, or you'll just move off to the side, shuttle your way across, camouflage your boats, whatever, and then you're hoofing it to your next anticipated base camp, which is being checked out by quartering party procedures. In the beginning, when after D-Day occurs, for the most part, you're not going to do any operations. You're going to be concentrating on training. You're going to be concentrating on making sure your people have equipment as close to a full issue as you can. That's when you're going to be busting open, using a Michigan militia terminology, your supply pods, issuing out gear. Ones that are missing weapons, you're issuing out basic weapons. It's not going to be the latest stuff. It's going to be what someone was able to get a hold of. You may get, you know, if you show up, you don't have a weapon because you had to leave it behind in order to make it through the checkpoints, or you just didn't have one yet, well, you might get tossed a 30-06 that cost $20 or $50 at a garage sale, or you could get tossed a Mosin Nagant. If you're lucky, you'll get tossed an SKS, maybe a Ghost AR-15, but more than likely you're going to get whatever cheap weapon they were able to get a hold of and some basic ammunition. What you get will not be premium. It won't have the fancy optics on it. It's just meant so that you can send rounds downrange to kill an enemy soldier and take his weapon. So your initial at least few weeks, it's going to be training people, making sure that they're up to snuff, making sure they have the weapons and equipment they need to survive. You're probably going to have some elements that will be out conducting missions. Most of those missions are going to be reconnaissance and surveillance. They're learning the enemy, where they are locating, you know, what are they using as their combat outposts, watching how they're being set up, how many people are operating in the area, how hard are they patrolling, how hard are they treating the civilian population, are they going out and launching missions rounding up family members of militia. It's possible that they're going to come in, they know this person's a militia member, it's been a few days, they've taken care of the leadership, now they're going against the low level people, they come in, they're planning on capturing you or killing you, you're not there, they arrest your family or kill your family. That's things that will be monitored by the elements that are out and about. Now, I highly recommend that the elements that you have out doing operations are primarily veterans and seasoned veterans of the militia. So people that may not have served in the military, but they've been in the militia a long time. They know what they're doing. They know how to react. They know their react to contract drills. They know how to put in hasty ambushes and all that stuff. They're led by a military veteran or someone who's been in the militia a long time. But especially your raw recruits, your newer people that have only been with you maybe a year, maybe 2 years, you're going to need them to go through your miniaturized basic training that you're putting them through right now. So, what should be in that basic training? Exactly that. Basic training tasks. You're going through from the basics all the way up to graduation. You know how to properly handle their weapon, make sure they're not flashing people with the barrel. You know, all the basic tasks that a person needs to know. And then you keep building on that. When your unit commander or the person that's in charge of training thinks you're at the level that you can do combat operations, that's when you're going to start doing your patrols and that stuff and ambushes. And it may not be for a few weeks, it may not be for a couple months. So, but what you will try to do is you will rotate those teams that are out and about doing the surveillance operations, doing the sniping, doing the occasional small ambushes. You're going to rotate them out. And every once in a while you're going to send up some of those newer people that are considered good enough with the training that they can operate. So you're going to send a few of them out every once in a while so they get some experience. But the ones that are still really, really new, you don't send them out until they for sure are ready. So that gives you somewhat of an idea on how to do this here. In the beginning, don't count on you're going to be going out and you're going to be ambushing supply convoys, overrunning combat outposts and that stuff. You start small and build your way up as you get experience over time. Now, for all my engineer brothers and the Patriot and militia movements, always remember, essayons.